Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll be discussing some key ideas behind time, speed, and distance. Very basic ideas that you should be very well adept with. Um, this is a problematic area for many people I've seen. So I thought about shooting this video. So without further delay, let's get into this. Firstly, the relation between them. So I hope all of you know the relation between these three things: speed, time, and distance. You can put it in any which way you want to put it. I'm just simply writing this at the beginning as distance equal to speed into time. I mean, you can treat it as speed equal to distance by time, time equal to distance by speed. That automatically works out, right? Essentially, distance is equal to speed into time. So speed for which, the speed with which you traveled and time for which you traveled multiplied will give you the total distance covered. So that is a basic relation between these three. But let's actually look at how the this relation, helps us understand the proportionality. So the proportionality is a part where every time and distance question becomes easier to solve it. So you have to understand the proportionality bit properly without taking any assumption. So don't by heart it, just understand it. It's related to, it derives from the given relation. So just understand the proportionality here. So first thing, let us say distance is constant. So if we keep the distance constant, if you look at the relation above, so if the distance is kept constant, then effectively what you get is speed into time becomes constant, right? Now, if speed into time becomes constant, if you increase the speed, then the time should be reduced, right? Only then speed into time could be constant. So this is just an example. If speed is doubled, time should be halved in order to keep the speed into time constant. If you're not understanding this, you can take a hypothetical numbers here, arbitrary numbers. So speed is 20, let's say, and time is 10. So 20 into 10 is 200. Suppose you double the speed, so you double from 20 to 40. Now 40 into 5 would be 200 again, isn't it? So time had to be halved from 10 to 5. So this is the basic idea of proportionality. Anyhow, you should be knowing this. If product of two variables is constant, then they are inversely proportional. If the ratio of two variables are constant, then they are directly proportional. So in this case, if distance is constant, speed into time is constant. So speed doubled, time halved, or speed increased, time decreased, and the vice versa. So this is the first proportionality that can be derived from the above relation. But please take a note of something. Speed is inversely proportional to time, yes, but only when distance is constant, not always. So please keep a very, very important note of it, a mental note of it. So it's not just that speed is inversely proportional to time always. Most of the cases people make this mistake. It is only it is only inversely proportional provided the distance is kept constant, otherwise not. Now let us look at the second proportionality basis of the same relation. So speed is constant. So if speed is kept constant, so if you just change this relation, the distance equal to speed into time, if you just change this relation somehow to your advantage, so keep speed on one of these sides and the other two on the same side. So what do you get? Speed equal to distance by time. So if speed is constant, effectively what we are getting is distance by time is constant, right? Now, just a while back, I discussed this. So if the ratio of two variables, so in this case, I hope you can see that this is distance by time is effectively the ratio of distance and time, right? So if the ratio of two variables becomes constant, then the variables are directly proportional. So you can check this out. I mean, if distance is doubled, if the numerator is doubled, the denominator also have to be doubled in order to keep the ratio constant, isn't it? Or the fraction constant, however you want to call this. So distance is doubled, the time should be doubled. Then only the distance by time remains constant. So distance and time are directly proportional to each other, but only when, similarly to the earlier one, the previous one, only when the speed is kept constant. And finally, I believe now you get this essence, so you can do the third one yourself. So let us quickly go through it. So if the time is kept constant, then the relation is distance by speed becomes constant. If the distance is double, the speed is also doubled, and the distance is directly proportional to speed, provided the time is kept constant. So this is how the proportionality goes. Do not take any assumptions. I hope this was very well understood, because you don't need to mug up this kind of thing, right? You can just understand this once, and that's it. I mean, you can utilize it whenever you get into a question, because this is nothing to mug up, right? I mean, it's a very simple idea. Just you have to remember is the relation, that is distance equal to speed into time, right? Now let us go into the another important part of this particular video: scenario analysis. Now, scenario analysis is something which has to be understood via example. So what I mean by scenario analysis is comparison of multiple scenarios that are presented in question. So this is the type of area, I mean, this time, speed, and distance, where typically in a question you will have multiple scenarios that are presented. Now, those multiple scenarios have to be compared. So, when I say multiple scenarios, it could be comparing two different people, traveling. It could be the same person traveling in different ways. You will find a lot of questions where it says, if, however, he would have done this instead of this. So it's always comparing those scenarios. So how to compare that? So what you do is try to figure out what remains constant. It could be that the distance remain constant. It could be the speed remain constant. It could also be that there are multiple scenarios. So it could be that there are three scenarios as written in this particular example. So suppose there are three different scenarios, and in the first two scenarios, the time remains constant, and in the second and third scenario, the distance remains constant. So you have to compare in a way that which is remaining constant among the scenarios. So if you have three scenarios, do not try to compare all the scenarios together. So that will become overcomplicated. So go step by step, compare two scenarios, and then compare the second and third, maybe whichever have the distance constant. So compare it with the very, very simplest manner possible. So we'll take some examples to understand this as well. And finally, yes. So also use proportionality in the best manner possible. So if time remains constant, then the distance by speed is constant. If distance remains constant, then the speed into time is constant. So accordingly, use the proportionality. So you'll automatically be able to do that. So let's take an example problem. This is a very simple example problem to begin with. I think many of you might have already seen a question like this. So a person reaches his office 10 minutes early. When he travels 25% faster, find his usual time of travel. So I've written this in very crisp manner. If you have an actual question like this, it will be written: the person reaches his office 10 minutes earlier than his usual time when he if he travels with 25% more speed than his usual traveling speed. So find his usual time to travel to office. So something like that. But I hope that this is understood here. So he's traveling the same distance, isn't it? So again, that comparison of the scenario. So if you think about, there are actually two scenarios here. This not just, it's not that in a question it will be directly give written explicitly that this is scenario one and this is scenario two. You have to apply common sense and you have to figure it out yourself. So in this case, when we are comparing, when we are reading this question, there is obviously the comparison is on the basis of the usual speed and usual time, right? Because that there is a usual scenario in which he travels to office regularly with a certain speed, and he reaches at a certain time. If whatever statement has been presented in the question, 10 minutes early, 25% faster, that should be in comparison to this usual scenario, the scenario one that we have written here. So scenario one is the usual scenario with the usual speed, and scenario two is the special scenario that is actually given in the question, which says he travels with 25% higher speed, and that is 5/4 of the original speed. So these kind of things should happen automatically in your mind. This is a percentage basics. So those kind of things, percentages, ratios, averages, those are the things that will be required in speed time distance to do it in the optimum amount of time. But anyhow, so if speed is increased by 25%, so it should become 5/4 of the original. So this is what the scenario two is, right? That is presented. So let us compare the two scenarios now. Now, what is constant? That is what I asked you to check, right? Now, in this case, I already discussed this, but the distance is constant, isn't it? He is traveling a particular amount of distance from wherever common sense dictates that should be his home. So from his home to office, that distance is constant, right? It doesn't say anything about change in route or something. So ideally, the distance should be constant. So distance traveled, pretty obvious. Now, if distance is constant, if you recall the relationship, don't mug it up, just recall the relationship. Distance equal to speed into time. Distance is constant, so speed into time is constant, makes speed and time inversely proportional, right? So if speed and time are inversely proportional, now if speed is becoming 5/4, that is what we know from this data, 25% faster, the time should become 4/5. And if the time is becoming 4/5, the reduction is 1/5, right? So 1/5 of the time of the usual time should be 10 minutes, or the usual time is 50 minutes. So this is a very fast question. I mean, if you understand this idea, you can just look at the data: 25% faster, 5/4, 4/5, 1/5 reduction, 10 minutes. So 1/5 is 10 minutes. So the usual time is 50 minutes. So this becomes very, very fast, provided you understand this idea. But the thing that I'm continuously talking about, understand this idea. The idea is that once you read this question, you immediately hit on that distance is constant, and you immediately hit on if distance is constant, speed and time are inversely proportional. So don't worry about the time taken to solve at this stage of your preparation. When you're just starting off, the time will automatically reduce for your solving. All you have to do is focus on the basics. So focus on the basics as of now. So this was a very simple example problem. Let's take an interesting one. So this is one other problem that we would like to discuss in this video. This is again a question that some of you might have already seen, similar to this maybe. But if you just read the question, just pause the video and read the question, you would find something that is changed in this question. So just take pause the video at this moment and read the question. After you have done, resume it. So in this problem, it says that the vehicle is traveling, and after traveling 20 kilometers, develops an engine trouble and had to travel the remaining distance with a reduced speed, but reaches the destination 80 minutes late because of that. Now, had the engine trouble occurred 30 kilometers further on, the vehicle would have reached the destination just 15 minutes late. Those who have an experience with this problem, in most of the cases, you would find that the reduction in speed is given. So the speed becomes 4/5, of the speed becomes 2/3 due to the engine trouble. That is something we are not mentioned, because in the question that we are looking to find is the total distance that the vehicle is traveling. And in order to figure that out, we don't need the change in the speed in order to find the distance traveled. All we have to understand is the engine trouble that occurred should be the same engine trouble. So there should be the same reduction in speed. Now, because the question says had the engine trouble is the reference to the same engine trouble, so we can assume that there's the same reduction in speed, right? So we have the vehicle. There are two scenarios already projected, right? Presented in the set, right? So the first scenario is let us understand this visually. So let's say this was the starting point of the vehicle. This is where the engine trouble happens. So this distance should be corresponding to 20 kilometers. That is what it says. And because of this, the this original 20 kilometers, so this starting 20 kilometers, the vehicle has traveled with original speed because of the engine trouble occurring after 20 kilometers. And after the engine trouble happens, it says that, I mean, if you read the question again, had to travel the remaining distance with a reduced speed. So the remaining distance, so let's say this is the destination. The vehicle traveled with a reduced speed, but we don't know what is that. So just marking this with different colors just for your reference. You don't need to do that actually. So you have 20 kilometers original speed, and the rest of it we don't know, with a reduced speed. And the outcome is 80 minutes late, isn't it? So he reached the destination, or it reached the destination 80 minutes late. Now, If you look at the other scenario that is presented, now don't read the question incorrectly. It said, had the engine trouble occurred 30 kilometers further on. So when it says further on, it's from the previous position, right? So it's not 30 kilometers from the starting point. So had the engine trouble occurred 30 kilometers further on, that is essentially 20 plus 30. So after 50 kilometers of travel, the engine trouble has occurred. So in this case, the initial 50 kilometers, so this 20 as well as this 30, the vehicle has traveled with the original speed, and the remaining distance, whatever that be, the vehicle has traveled with the reduced speed, and this resulted in the vehicle reaching the destination 50 minutes late. Now when I solved this question, I mean not this specific question but this type of question the first time, this is what my question was myself. I mean, why did this 30 minutes got saved? I mean, you can find that there's a 80 minutes late and there's a 50 minutes late. So effectively, you're saving 30 minutes, isn't it? Instead of reaching 80 minutes late, you're just being 50 minutes late. So you're actually, saving 30 minutes, right? So 30 minutes is saved from scenario one to scenario two, right? Now, why is that? That is the first thing. Now, notice this block of distance. If you compare any two other parts, so let's say the first 20 kilometers, in both the scenarios, you have traveled with the original speed, right? So it's green and green. So this is why we use different colors. So the 20 kilometers is traveled with the original speed in both the scenarios, right? So for this part, let's say you have the total distance is same for 20 kilometers for both the cases, and even the speed same. So if the distance is same, the speed is same, the time has to be same, right? So no difference in time here. If you look at the third block, again, both have a certain distance. We don't know, but it's the same distance for both the scenarios. It is the same speed also. In both the scenarios, it is a reduced speed. So same speed, same distance. So again, no difference in time. So if you compare these two scenarios, there is no difference of time here. There is no difference of time here. So this 30 kilometers traveled should have created that difference of 30 minutes, right? So this 30 kilometers traveled with original speed in the second scenario instead of the reduced speed in the first scenario. So in the second scenario, we traveled with the original speed with green color. And in the first scenario, we traveled with the reduced speed with the red color. That saved 30 minutes, isn't it? So this is where the time difference is coming from. So in order to do this the most effective way possible, let us build a hypothetical scenario. Now, the hypothetical scenario will be, see, I need the total distance, right? So what I need is this missing part. So all I can imagine it in this way. So I have this red to green kind of thing happening. So if you figure this out by now, you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to do. If you have done this, you'll automatically like what you have done. So very good. But look at this. So what I've done is I've built this hypothetical scenario in which the engine trouble happens at the very destination. So suppose the engine trouble happens at the destination. What does that imply? You have traveled the entire distance with the original speed, right? I mean, if the engine trouble has happened at the destination, there is no reduction in speed along the way, isn't it? I mean, beyond that, whatever happens, we don't care in the context of the question. So this entire distance has been traveled with the original speed. Now, ask yourself this question: in this context or in this particular premise, whatever the vehicle is being late for is because of the engine troubles, isn't it? And because of, more effectively, more importantly, because of traveling a certain amount of distance with a reduced speed. Now, in this scenario, in this hypothetical scenario, he has traveled nothing with a reduced speed, right? So he's not supposed to be late, isn't it? So how much late will he be? That should be 0 minutes. So now, if you compare the scenario two and scenario one, we already have this data with us. So I'll just mark this again. So 30 kilometers traveled with original speed instead of reduced speed saves 30 minutes. So let's keep that data. We already knew that. And now, if you think about this particular two scenarios, so if you look at the scenario two to scenario three, whatever is the time saved. So in scenario two, you had 50 minutes late, and scenario three, you are 0 minutes late, right? So effectively, how much time are you saving? So in order to save 50 minutes, so 50 minutes late to 0 minutes late, you're saving 50 minutes, right? So in order to save 30 minutes, that is what in scenario one to scenario two happened. You had to travel 30 kilometers with the original speed instead of reduced speed, right? So using the same idea, in order to save 50 minutes, you should be traveling 50 kilometers with the original speed instead of reduced speed, isn't it? So from scenario two to scenario three, let's say the hypothetical one, there should be a 50-kilometer range in which the reduced speed is changing to original speed. Whatever happened from scenario one to scenario two here, right? So there should be a 50-kilometer range where this reduced speed to original speed should change. And where is this happening? This block, isn't it? Red to green, again, same idea. So you are changing from reduced speed to original speed. So this particular block of distance should correspond to 50 kilometers. And that is what the question was looking for. So our answer would be 20 plus 30 plus 50 in total of 100 kilometers. So this is a nice question that I wanted to share so that you understand what I mean by scenario analysis and proper use of proportionality. But this is where we will stop this video. We have discussed how to apply those basics into the scenario analysis. So I hope that was understood as well as enjoyable. If you like the video, do press on the like button and also subscribe to the channel and share it among your friends, the channel as well as this particular video if you liked it. Do press the bell button if you're subscribing to the channel. It will give you notifications as soon as we upload a video. And if you like this kind of training that we have, so this is the type, this is the way we actually train. We don't train in a PPT format. This is just for the video purpose. We would typically write it and explain it and draw it with our hands. So that will be much more interactive in nature. So the lessons that we actually have are designed in this manner so that you understand it better than just mugging up the basic formulas. You don't need to mug up formulas for aptitude tests. That is the main purpose of it. So I'll leave a link in the description. You can just visit that link. There are a host of trials that are available. You will find that we have explained everything in this manner itself. So it's always from the basics. That is what you have to develop. The main thing that you have to develop is application of the basics, because basics are very limited in nature. It's the application that will trouble you over time. So if you understand how to apply them, we have detailed it with various examples and variations. So it's simply put, I mean, even if you consider something as simple a topic as percentages, the basics has been explained, and then there are a lot of variants of problem that are discussed. We have also started our live webinars and all, in which we are discussing more questions. So typically that's a 3 hour session, and if it's a QA one, roughly around 25 to 30 questions are discussed. And if it's a LR one, typically 4 to 5 very good sets are discussed. So typically CAT type of set. So just take the trial. There are like more than 90 lessons which are on trial, as well as there are a few recordings of the live webinars which are also on the trial. So I'll leave the link in the description. Just go ahead and check it out. If you like it, then you can take the course. And do stay connected with us. We'll leave some links of our Facebook page, of our Telegram channel, so you can just connected with us. And thank you for joining in. Do stay safe, but keep preparing well, and enjoy the preparation. That is more important. So have a good preparation journey ahead. Thank you.